Hey friends! Welcome to Spirit Club, a podcast and community that is all about doing the inner work to live an aligned and, dare I say, happy life. I'm your host, spiritual guide and intuitive, Angell Kelly, and I'm here to share my teachings along with messages passed on to me from higher consciousness. I've also got incredible guests in store to help you go down all those spiritual rabbit holes. So let's go! Welcome to the club! Hi friends, hi Spirit Club. Today we're going to talk about how to stop people pleasing. And even if it's just little ways, scaling back on the shadow side of people pleasing is going to add a lot to your life. So I just want to preface this by saying that I also still have people pleasing tendencies. I want to be clear about that, but I am very good at breaking things down. I have done a lot of work on it. I'm not all the way there, but I'm going to share with you what I know, what I've seen, and what I can feel by tapping into the greater message around it. So I think this is going to help you. So here we go. So first of all, you might be thinking, isn't everyone a people pleaser? And no, everyone is not a people pleaser. In fact, Shane and his close family, I think they're a great example of they are not people pleasers. 3 Aquarius boys, okay? Aquarius can be, of course, it depends on what else is in your chart, but Aquarius can be very good at sort of being a little bit more remote and less of a people pleaser. So when his family came into my life, at first I was triggered by it because I wasn't aware of my people pleasing. I thought that it was the right way to be. But I have since grown to really love and respect that about them. And I think they're just such a great example of no, not everyone's a people pleaser. So what does people pleasing really mean? I feel like that's where we should start because it's such a buzzword now. And it does mean exactly what it sounds like. It means pleasing others. And pleasing others isn't inherently good or bad. There's a shadow and a light side to it. And the shadow side is what has gotten really popular in the collective. That's what everybody's talking about. That's the buzzword. And the shadow side is I please others. I self-abandon. I overlook my own needs, wants, desires for others. I self-abandon to please others. But there's a light side to it too, and I think that we should at the very least mention that. And I have to thank Josefina Barrios. She came on here a couple episodes back. You can go check it out. I think it's called The Wounded to Empowered Feminine, something like that. But anyway, she helped me to see the light side, being that serving others, when your cup is totally full and it runneth over and you are serving others, this is a people-pleasing tendency, let's call it, but the light side of it. So there are both sides, okay? And today we're going to talk about the shadow side because that's what you're all here for, is the part that you're struggling with. So where do we begin? You know where we begin. It's Spirit Club. We begin with the blocks. And just to review, what is a block? A block is a belief that is standing between you and what you want. Okay, so what's the block that's making me be a people pleaser? And when I feel into it, I can feel 5. I'm going to say the top 5 blocks, okay? So the first one is, so this is a limiting belief. You are a good person if you put others first. You are a good mother if you put others first. You are a good girl if you put others first. So in other words, there's morality tied to it. You are good if you put others first, and you are a bad person if you don't. So I feel like this lives in women the strongest because we are taught, it's the old be a good girl and do X, Y, Z. So you'll know if this one applies to you if you look at someone who chooses themselves and you judge them. Someone who doesn't put, let's say, you first, and you're triggered by it. This is a good sign that you've got this limiting belief running because you have tied morality to it. You think it's a good thing. Somewhere deep inside in your subconscious, you think it's a good thing to put your needs aside and put others first. Okay? And because there's morality tied to it, if you have this one, it's going to take a little bit more time to put some holes in this block because you're going to feel like a bad person. You don't want to be a person. Nobody wants to be a bad person. So yeah, that's what'll be tough about that. Come see me. Okay, second block. People like me because I people please. People like me because I put their needs first. People like me because I do things for them. So in other words, I will lose people if I don't people please. So that's really scary, right? We don't want to lose people that we love. And if there's a belief operating underneath that the only reason they're around is because you do things for them, then of course you're going to think that you're going to lose them. But just know that, like, the only people that you're going to lose are the people that only want you in their lives because you do things for them, which isn't going to be people you want in your life anyway. People who actually love you for who you are going to love you regardless of whether or not you put their needs before yours, if that makes sense, because they love you. So these are the ones, those relationships that are only benefiting from you people pleasing are the ones that are going to push back when you try to stop this behavior. But they're also not the ones that you want to have around. The ones you want to have around, they may still be like a little triggered by you no longer acting in a people-pleasing way, but they're going to want to be around after regardless. Okay, they'll adapt to your new boundaried self. Okay, third common block, I am worth less than this person that I'm bending over for. Therefore, my needs matter less. Okay? So it's not I'm worthless. It's just I am worth less than the person whose needs I'm putting in front of mine. So this is one I think that a lot of us do at least somewhere in our lives with people that we put on a pedestal or hold in a higher regard than ourselves. If I were to pick one area where Shane might have a little bit of people-pleasing tendency, it would be here. With certain people in his life that he holds in really high regard. And this one actually reminds me of last week. I had sort of like a prophetic dream. I've been monitoring my dreams, and in this dream, I was at some sort of retreat. There were yoga mats, and there was a speaker who I really looked up to who couldn't find a yoga mat. I was kind of off in the corner, and I was like looking at her, trying to signal like, oh, you can have mine. And in the dream, she was like, oh, I was testing you to see if you would put your needs below mine. And so it was funny. I woke up and I wrote down that dream because I'm monitoring my dreams. And then I went to a yoga class that morning. First thing I did. And guess what happened? I was like almost arriving just on time. And I hadn't registered online because I just talked to the instructor directly and told her I'd be there. And 2 people came and there was only 1 mat left. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's happening. I could feel it inside me being like, ooh, I should give up my mat because I didn't register online. And whatever. I was immediately like, my needs are less because blah, blah, blah. And then I was like, oh, I remembered the dream. And I was like, no, my job is to stand in my worth and I deserve this mat. And it all worked out. But anyway, that was my little example of this block. My needs are worth less than this other person that I bend over for. Okay, fourth common block. This one's a biggie. I am only safe. I can only feel good when those around me feel good. So this is for my empaths in the house. And I would say almost every client that I work with has this block. I definitely have. I had this block and I still do from time to time, depending on the person. And because what it really is a mismanaged gift. It's a mismanaged psychic gift of clairsentience. At some point when you were a child, you picked up the ability to sense how people are feeling around you and understand that your needs won't be met, you won't be taken care of if everybody else doesn't feel good, isn't well. So you would make sure everybody felt good. I've talked about this before. So very common, mismanaged intuitive gift. And so this one really comes down to creating safety within yourself, regardless of how those are feeling around you. What's yours is yours, what's mine is mine. And this block can also show up as like not wanting to hurt other people's feelings. Like, of course, we don't want to go out of our way to hurt other people's feelings, but we also have no control about how other people are going to feel about things. And if you feel really uncomfortable with hurting someone's feelings, you will people please to make sure that their feelings aren't hurt. You can't stand in the discomfort of their feelings being hurt. This one for sure I resonate with. This was showing up for me a lot when I was really, really busy back home. And a lot of people wanted to be my friend. A lot of people wanted to hang out, and I had no time. And I was trying to set boundaries and be clear that I had no time, and they were still reaching out to hang out and so on. And it was really the discomfort of not being able to like tell a new person in my life that I didn't have space for another friend because that might hurt their feelings. So this is just another way that this block might show up. And Shane's amazing at this. Everybody wants to be friends, everybody wants to be Shane's friend. Everybody wants to be Shane's friend. And he's the guy who's like, yeah, totally. Like, because he means it. And then he just leaves everybody on red. It's fascinating. I'm like, that's amazing. He doesn't feel bad about it. He's not trying to be mean or hurt anybody's feelings. He's just not a people pleaser. Shane, so many great lessons to discover in Shane. Okay, fifth common block around people pleasing is if I'm easygoing, I'm cool. Like I'm a cool girl. I keep the peace. Okay, so this one has more to do with not being comfortable being in conflict. So you people please to avoid conflict because you don't have any skills around conflict. Conflict makes you feel really unsafe. I mean, so you people please to avoid it. I've done this one too. So, okay, guys, those are the common blocks. And with blocks, the first step is always awareness. And once we have awareness, we can start to poke a lot of holes in our thoughts, feelings, behaviors that align with that belief. But you also will need to address the subconscious. Come see me or one of the many people that I've presented on here that help with subconscious reprogramming. Okay, now I know what you want to do is like, okay, yes, I will do the subconscious work, Angel, but tell me what I can do now about people pleasing. And yes, I've got you. So I'm going to give you some pointers, exercises, but just know that these won't work if you don't address those blocks, right? Because if ultimately you believe that people pleasing makes you a good person, you're always going to align with that. So you have to first poke holes in that. All right. How to stop people pleasing. How many do I got here? 5. Oh, lucky 5 today. Okay. First things first. You must start putting yourself first. It seems so simple, but I know many women in the crowd, especially mothers, are not doing this. And I know it's not always possible. I know. But listen, depending on how far on the people-pleasing scale you are, you might have to swing all the way to this side of the pendulum before you find your center of not people-pleasing and putting yourself first. So start in small ways. Start small and then you'll layer putting yourself first on. You'll sort of expand your capacity to be able to put yourself first. You got to start somewhere. So maybe putting yourself first is meditating in the morning and asking your partner to get your children out of bed. Or maybe it's sleeping in on a Saturday morning instead of going to some sort of sports commitment. Or maybe it's buying cupcakes or baked goods instead of making them from scratch for some event or family thing. Okay, these are just little ways that you put you and your needs first. And you'll find them once you start, you'll get addicted to it because it feels great. And you'll be able to do more and more of that. All right, second way to stop people pleasing. This will not surprise you. Set boundaries. So this one kind of like naturally follows putting yourself first. As you put yourself first, you will have to set boundaries. They kind of come together. And boundaries have been a buzzword. Boundaries have gotten a lot of attention over the last decade. You may even be tired of hearing about them. But really, ultimately, let's celebrate how great it is that boundaries started to trend. That's a great thing. So I know you all have probably set some boundaries. So what I'm going to say about it is the important thing with boundaries is both setting the boundary and holding the boundary. Because a lot of time we'll set it and then we'll let somebody walk right on past it, which almost is worse than setting it at all. But anyhow, so sometimes we have to set boundaries with ourselves. So that might be like, I am not going to answer work emails after 5. And sometimes we need to set boundaries with others. I'm not going to pick up the phone when my sister calls every day to talk for an hour. So these are ways that you're putting yourself first, and you have to set boundaries in order to do it. Now, with setting boundaries with others, I know some of you hear it and you like immediately get anxiety about the idea of it. And this is because of the blocks we discussed. You get anxiety about the idea of setting a boundary with someone else because you want to be liked, or because you don't want to be in conflict, or you don't want to hurt their feelings. All those things that we discussed above. And in my experience, setting boundaries with others, which, full disclosure, I have done very ungracefully. Like when I first started setting boundaries, I was like so new to it. I was clunky about it. And where I've come to is there is a way to set boundaries with grace and love. And here's how. You make it about you. You make it about you because it is about you. As much as like a part of you might think it's about the other person, it's about you. So you make it about you and you share very like honest and vulnerably. So for example, hey, loved one, I'm trying to put myself first in order to be happier. I don't really know how to do this, but for a little while, I'm not going to be able to do XYZ. What person is going to hear that and make it about them? Right? Like you're very clearly saying, this is just like something I need to do for me. I love ya, but I can't do that right now. Anybody who hears that and makes it about them, those are the type of people that are benefiting from you not having boundaries and from you being a people pleaser. And they've got their own work to do. But know that the people who love you, not what you do for them, but just love you, are not going to give a dang about you choosing yourself over them. They're going to celebrate it. They're going to support it. It might even inspire them to do more of that for themselves. I honestly, this is what I have. This is what I have with the majority of my friends, family, my partner. If I have to cancel or change something because that's what I needed to do for me, I only have support. Only have support. No one's trying to get me to do anything that I don't want to do. And it is very freeing, you guys. But you have to create it for yourself. Okay, so what do we have? We had put yourself first, then we had set boundaries. Second one is watch for cues. I mean, this is just a way to work with boundaries and putting yourself first. So there are certain cues, certain indicators that you need to put yourself first and or set a boundary. What are those cues? Feelings of resentment, frustration, irritation, annoyance, feeling like a victim, feeling like you're really avoiding doing something, and honestly just really not wanting to do something. That's a pretty loud sign. Okay, so if you're feeling any of these things, this is a sign that you need to set a boundary. So take a moment and be like, okay, I'm feeling really resentful towards so-and-so. Where do I need to put myself first? Where do I need to set a boundary? And that's how you can work with that. All right, fourth way to stop people pleasing. This one is for my empaths, the folks in the crowd who are aware of how others are feeling and are trying to control their experience, their feelings. So this is a practice that I would recommend you start, and that is pulling your energy inside you and protecting it. So this might sound a little out there. You'll know once you experience it. So you can do this as a daily practice in meditation, or you can do it right on the spot. So when you have the awareness that, oh, right now I'm feeling how other people are feeling, and it's making me anxious, and I'm wanting to change more of myself into what they need so that they feel better. When you feel that happening, you can literally take 5 breaths and do this. With every inhale, imagine your energy coming back to you and away from them. Okay, so you can imagine that your energy is out there managing them. Call it back to you with every inhale. You can just take 5 breaths, bringing your energy back to you, and then imagine a bubble around you protecting you and holding it there. This will do wonders for you. If you can't do it on the spot, do it in the morning before you start your day with that intention. Okay, and then the last one, this one, I hope I can make it clear. The last way to stop people pleasing is to get to know your energy and your capacity. So many of you don't know the limits of your energy. You don't know the rhythm of your energy. So you book a flight that lands on a Sunday and you go to work on the Monday, totally destroyed. Or you say yes to 5 back-to-back social events 2 weeks from now. Once you get to know your rhythm, your energy, how it works, you won't put yourself in a position where you'll have to people please. So the best way to do this is to start a daily energy journal. Just monitor your energy every day. You can give it a number from 0 to 5, 0 being totally depleted and 5 being like buzzing, crazy, full of energy. Take on the world and just monitor it throughout the day, and then take a look at what's giving, what's taking. And as you get to know your capacity, you will schedule accordingly. And you won't need to, how do I say this? The more you will know when you need to honor your capacity and your energy, and you're less likely to put yourself in a people-pleasing situation. So you won't say yes to those 5 social events and then get there and be depleted and resentful about, because of your people-pleasing nature having to go. Or maybe you're that person that makes the plans and then cancels them all. It will really help if you know your capacity. You won't make those commitments. Okay, so that's it. Those are the 5 blocks and then 5 ways to stop people pleasing. And finally, I just want to talk about the part that no one talks about, which is sometimes you have to put others first. Duh. Of course you do. I mean, the mothers in the crowd are like, finally, yes, obviously. So when you have children and when you're in a relationship, there are a lot of scenarios we could come up with. Don't get carried away. There are lots that we make up in our head, but yes, there are scenarios where we have to put others first. And this is a bit of a gray zone, so this is what I'll say. Remember, we talked about the light side of people pleasing. If you are filling up your own cup, if your cup is full, it will naturally runneth over and you will have a higher capacity to show up for people. That would be my way to approach that. So if you're super depleted and you're people pleasing, won't be good for you, won't be good for them ultimately. So fill up your cup and then allow it to runneth over. And I actually think that in order to have good friendships, good relationships, close family relationships, we do need to show up for them. Sometimes we do need to go to something that we don't really love going to or whatever it is. But when we've taken care of ourselves so well, we can make time for it. It's okay. It's worth it for the relationship. So I hope that makes sense. And I know this is tough. Trust me, it's probably like a lifelong work for many of us, especially women, especially empaths, but it is worth it. And yeah, I love you guys. I hope it helps. See you next time.